So I feel a little bit like I'm about to go out to the club right now with this like crazy messy ponytail situation, when in reality I'm actually planning on like just chilling out on my couch for the rest of the night. When you work a very, very long day in a medical office, your hair basically just ends up like, you know, crazy bun ponytail thing. And so trying to convert that to like filming hair is not an easy task. So this is basically what I came up with. We're just gonna roll with it. So welcome back, or welcome if you are new. Today I wanted to share a video with you guys that I've been wanting to film for a while. I am giving you a 1-year update on my first ever Z palette. So I picked up this Z palette as a birthday present to myself last year. I'd never owned a Z palette. I'd never owned any basically like single pan eyeshadows, and it was something that I had really wanted to start building a collection of. So I got myself this extra large Z palette off of the Sephora website, I believe, maybe. And then I wrote a whole post at the time of like my first adventure in trying to depot some of the eyeshadow singles that I had sitting at home. It was pretty entertaining. So I will definitely link that post for you guys down below in case you're interested in starting your own Z palette. But since then, as you can see, I've added quite a few things in here. I've bought some MAC shadows and some Anastasia shadows, and I have some other stuff. So I thought it would be fun to show you guys what I have in my Z palette and swatch everything and chat a little bit about some of my favorite shadows from this palette. So for those of you who aren't totally familiar, a Z palette basically is just an empty magnetic palette, and you take any kind of metal pans, will stick to the magnetic surface, so you can completely customize what you put in your Z palette. So a lot of eyeshadow singles are actually much more affordable to buy in these like naked pan versions than in packaging. But if you do have an eyeshadow single sitting around in packaging, you can actually like melt the glue off and pop it out and then stick the pan in your Z palette if you find it will be easier to encourage yourself to reach for it that way. So I have got, as you can see, like a kind of a mishmash of things in here. I have a bunch of eyeshadows, and then I have a few bigger pans that are some like blush, highlighter, bronzy things that I depotted or got sent from different subscription services and things, and then a couple little tiny baby samples that I depotted as well. So we're going to go through these shadows one by one. I will talk to you a little bit about each of them, and then I'll show you swatches, and we'll just go from there. So the first shadow here in the top left is Brule. This is a MAC shadow. It is matte, and this is a really nice brow bone highlight or shade to use all over the lid as a base to blend other shadows into. For me being, well, right now I'm a little bit more tan, but for someone who's normally a little bit more pale skin, it's kind of like a similar tone to my skin tone, so it's a nice like blending shade for me, but on a darker skin tone it would be really nice for a matte highlight. Then next here we have Sin by Urban Decay. This was actually in a eyeshadow pan and I depotted it. It was one of the first eyeshadows I depotted, which was pretty difficult. Sin is a classic favorite from Urban Decay. It's a really beautiful shimmery champagne shade. This is a really nice inner corner highlight. Then right next to that we have Legend by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this is just a super beautiful, buttery, golden undertoned highlight shade. I love this color. It's actually what I'm wearing on my inner corner of my eyes today. And I just think that, just as a side note, Anastasia's eyeshadows to me are the most buttery and smooth. Like MAC are pretty good, but quality-wise, I think I actually prefer the Anastasia ones better. I haven't tried as many of her matte shadows, so that might also be part of the issue because mattes tend to usually be stiffer than shimmery shadows, but just saying, top-notch quality. So next to that right here is MAC's Quarry, and this is a nice transitional shade. I really love this to use like right in the crease if I'm going to be blending in other darker colors. And it's very cool toned. It's like a greigey taupe shade, but it has almost like a purpley undertone, and I think that's really, really pretty. And I find that it looks really nice with some of the other shades that I chose for my palette as well. We'll get there. Then next to that is MAC Wedge, which is another matte transition shade, and once again, really like this for transitioning in the crease. It's actually what I used today before I blended in some other colors just to sort of soften that crease and sort of allow you to build up depth without like having any harshness and keep everything nice and blended. Then next to that is MAC's Swiss Chocolate. I am obsessed with this color. I feel like I use it all the time. It's actually what's in my crease today. This is a really warm, chocolatey, matte brown shade. It has a reddish undertone to it. I picked this up per the recommendation of Jaclyn Hill when I was watching her Z palette video, and I'm obsessed with it. Definitely was a great recommendation that I got that eyeshadow. And then the last shadow here in the top row is MAC Sable. This is a shimmery shade, and it's got like a lovely coppery bronzy color to it. This is another one of those cult classic shadows that a lot of people rave about, so I had to pick it up, and I think that it is beautiful. Then starting in on the second row, I have Amber Lights. This is a really beautiful warm, bronzy, coppery, shimmery shade. I think that this is beautiful as an all over the lid shade, and if you use it with some Fix Plus, it would really, really make it pop. Then next to that is MAC's Satin Taupe, and this is another one of those cult classic MAC shades. It's a really beautiful greigey, taupey shimmer shade. I feel like this is one of those perfect smoky eye, bridal eye eyeshadows that a lot of people use. I think it's stunning and it blends really beautifully. It's very smooth and creamy on the lid. I love that one. Then next to that is Anastasia Beverly Hills Sangria. This is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I put the Sangria on and then I deepened things up a little bit with the Swiss Chocolate, and I think this is just the most stunning. Ooh, losing an eyeshadow there. So this is just a really stunning shimmery cranberry shade. It's very unique. It's not really purple, it's not really red, it's just, I love it. And in terms of like a cranberry shadow, this one had gotten really, really great reviews, and I understand why. Then next to that is Anastasia Beverly Hills Blushing. This is a sort of more glittery eyeshadow. It's pink. It's almost got a purpley duochromatic finish to it. It reminds me a little bit of Urban Decay's Fireball, if you've tried that one. This is actually what I'm wearing all over my lid today with some MAC Fix Plus. I like the shade of this, but formula wise I find that this particular color is a little bit more chunky and difficult to work with, so it's not my favorite formula wise, but I do really like the color on it. Then next to that is MAC Coral. This is obviously a matte coral shade. I thought that this was just such a fun, pretty color. I just picked it up recently, so I haven't really used it a lot. But I thought that I really love peachy eye looks. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen me post like a million peachy eye makeup looks in the last couple of months. And I just really love this kind of color. It almost looks like it'd be a really beautiful blush, but I just thought it would be fun to use as an eyeshadow. Then next to that I have Anastasia China Rose. And this is a really pretty kind of unique color. This is one of the first things that I picked up when I started buying some loose individual eyeshadows. And it's a shimmery shade, and it's got almost like a goldeny peachy undertone to it. It's really, really beautiful. I've used this a whole bunch of times in pictures that I've shared online, and I definitely recommend this color. And then the last one in this second row is MAC's Red Brick. This is a matte orange shade, and I love this. I think this is such a fun, unique color. Like, this is the kind of shade you're not going to find a lot in a palette if you were to buy something that a store had pre-curated. And it's pigmented, but it's blendable, and actually you can build up the color with this. So if you want to just add a little bit of warmth to like a brown shadow, you can use a light dusting of this, or you can really intensify it and make it super orange. So it's actually surprisingly versatile, whether or not you want to go bold or you just kind of want to like warm up a normal neutral eyeshadow look. Then in this next row here, this first shadow is Urban Decay Perversion. This is another one that I depotted from a normal single eyeshadow pot. This is a black shadow, but it has a bit of almost like a greenish shimmer to it. The shimmer is very subtle. It looks almost matte on the lid. This is not my most favorite black eyeshadow in the sense of it's not as super pigmented as some other ones that I've tried, but it's definitely blendable and buildable if you want to make like a more sort of subtle smoky eye look. Then next to that is Urban Decay's Lounge. This is another one that I depotted. I got this in a Sephora favorites set, I think at Christmas time, and it was sitting in a drawer, and I figured I would use it a lot more if I pulled it out of the packaging and put it in my Z palette. And this is a gorgeous eyeshadow shade. I am obsessed. This is a duochrome that's almost like a reddish brown with a green metallic shimmer in different lights. It's just something totally unique, so stunning. I did a whole makeup look actually with this when I got it, so I'll link that for you guys down below in case you want to check it out. Then next to that I have MAC Steamy. This is another shimmery metallic shadow. It is a blue with like a gold reflect to it. It's a really unique kind of a color, and I thought it would be really fun for summer as sort of like like a highlight or a pop of color. You could smudge it under your lower lash line if you want to just add a little bit of something, if you were afraid of doing like a turquoise all over the lid. But hey, all the more power to you if you want to rock blue eyeshadow, man. If you can wear that like all over your lids, I give you props. And then this last pan here is Urban Decay's Purple Haze. This is another one that I depotted, and this is just a really pretty metallic purple shade. It's pretty, like it's not too deep, it's not too bright. This would be just like a fun one. Once again, you could use this sort of like Steamy as a pop of color on the lower lash line, or just add like a little bit of like just like a little extra something in the outer V if you wanted to add a touch of color but didn't want to like go full on color all over the lid. And then as you can see, I have some big pans in here. This one right here that I'm not going to be able to get out because, really? Come to me. Thank you. So this one here is actually an Ofra eyeshadow and highlighter. It's in the shade Bliss. And I got this gigantic pan in an Ipsy bag way back when. So it was actually a loose pan when I got it. So this was perfect. So I could just slap this baby right in my Z palette. And this would actually be really beautiful as a highlight on dark skin tones, or as just an eyeshadow on someone who's a little bit more fair like me. And then here on the end, I have a shimmering skin perfector from Becca. This is the shade Rose Gold. And this was actually a little sample that I had gotten in like one of those little kits from Ulta. So I just figured that because it wasn't a full-size product, I'd be more likely to use it if I put it in the Z pan, so I popped it out of its packaging. And I find that this shade is way too dark for me personally to use as a highlight, but it's definitely really gorgeous on the lids as a shimmery eyeshadow. And then I just have a couple other random things. So down here I have a couple of little samples from the Balm. This is the Mirror Lou-Manizer. Everybody raves about this highlighter as being like ridiculously amazing. So I had like a little sample of it and I popped it out of the cardboard packaging so I could stick it in my Z palette. I find that makes me much more likely to use it than having to dig through a drawer to find it. And so next to this was an eyeshadow that was like a little sample from one of their Balm's palettes in the shade Fit. I think it was one of the ones that had the little guys, not the matte palette, the nudes palette maybe? Might be from that. So then I just popped this little eyeshadow out of the cardboard packaging as well and stuck it in here. Then this over here is actually Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. I have the Milk Chocolate Soleil in the full size, and it is like my favorite bronzer ever of life. It's actually what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. But this is a little bit too dark for me during most of the year. I actually probably can get away with wearing this shade now that I'm a little bit more tan. But I had gotten a sample, so I once again popped it out and stuck it into my Z palette, and it also makes my palette smell like chocolate every time I open it, which is a nice little bonus. And then next to that, this was another like sample from a set that I got from Smashbox. It's their Fusion Soft Lights, which I think is like a baked bronzery, highlightery kind of a product. So I just stuck this in here, and I actually haven't really used this that much, but I feel like this would be a nice sort of shimmery bronzer, or you could use each individual shade as an eyeshadow, or you could swirl them all together, so I thought that would be a little bit fun. And then last is this Model Co blush, and actually you could tell that this was my one casualty when I was depotting for the first time. I cracked this blush, and I managed to like put the pan back together with some isopropyl alcohol. So it's, you know, it still works and it's still very soft. This is what the color looks like. But the pan itself is not as pretty as it used to be since I kind of accidentally destroyed it. So yeah, final verdict, getting a Z palette was definitely one of the better investments that I've made. I have found that a lot of products that I normally would have had sitting in a drawer somewhere, I'm more likely to use because they're easily accessible to me. I just think that palettes are the way to go. As you can see, my one complaint that I've noticed is that in a traditional Z palette, MAC shadows do not stick in as well as the Anastasia ones. The Anastasia ones, the pans are a little bit flatter, and for some reason they just really stick onto that magnet and they have a good strong hold. The MAC Eyeshadows, I think, are really designed to go in a MAC palette that has like a little like protective overlayer that kind of keeps them in place. So technically I think MAC eyeshadows are most secure in a MAC palette, but since I already had a Z palette, this is where these were going, so I'm just gonna have to suck it up and deal and like not drop it or throw it, because otherwise they'll just be eyeshadows flying everywhere and that would be terrible. Price point wise, MAC eyeshadows right now have been reduced in price, so instead of being $10 a pan, they're $6 a pan, so that's why I picked up quite a few of these. They also were having a sale not that long ago, and I was able to get things 15% off and with free shipping on top of that, so that made each of my MAC eyeshadows about $5, which is very affordable. And the Anastasia ones are normally $12 a pan, but if you buy 4, then the price becomes $10 a pan. And I also bought those when I had a 20% off coupon, so I was able to get them for about $8 a pan, which is better than 12. So they're still the most pricey, but quality-wise, the Anastasia shadows are very much on point, very blendable, very creamy. The only thing I have not tried so far are Makeup Geek. I really want to get some Makeup Geek eyeshadows. That is on my to-buy list. It's on my wish list. My birthday is coming up, obviously, so maybe I will treat myself. We shall see. It's not like I have any, shortage of eyeshadows, but let's be serious. Is there ever such a thing as too much? So that about wraps things up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate your support. If you have any questions about any of the products that were in my palette, definitely post me a comment down below. Let me know some of your eyeshadow recommendations. I would love to hear what I should buy next. And also, if I'm going to get anything from Makeup Geek, what you guys recommend that I check out first. If you are new to my channel, I hope you will subscribe and join my little family. Just click the button down below. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. I have a lot of other filming I need to do. I don't know if I'm going to get to it tonight, but if not, definitely tomorrow. I feel like I have like 800 videos that I need to film. I need to get on my A game. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.